In May of 1983, my mother rustled up my brother, who was 2, and me, who was 7, and hurried us into the back seat of our Toronado at around 3 a.m. My dad was working the night shift at 7-Eleven. She had left $60 in a note on the table for him, and we drove all night and ended up in Houston, Texas, in the Greens Point Mall parking lot around 7 in the morning. And there was one car in the parking lot. It was a big white Cadillac, and leaning against it was the man who I would live with for the next 7 years. I'd never seen him before, but my mom clearly had, because she drove the Toronado straight toward that white Cadillac, jumped out, and they started making out. And then we followed that white Cadillac for about 4 miles, maybe, to our new home, which was a double-wide trailer in Green Acres Mobile Home Park. His wife and 2 kids had moved out the week before, and it turned out that his daughter, Kathy, was also 8, and his daughter, Kelly, was about 2, so there were 2 rooms set up really well for Melea, or for Marty and I to move right into. About 2 weeks later, I woke up in my new room really early, about 5 a.m., to the smell of coffee, which I had never had any experience with. And there was so much commotion in the living room, and I padded out down the hallway, and there were 4 women and a man, probably in their mid-20s, all in various states of undress. And my mom and my mom's boyfriend, Bill, were taping wires with masking tape to their bare skin, and then putting clothes on them that, the guy whose name I found out later was Mark, he had on a sort of a houndstooth jacket, which is a weird piece of clothing for Houston in May, and a hat, and my parents were, my mom and her boyfriend were really, really agitated and sort of nervous but excited. I could feel the excitement, and they all leave, get in a van that my mom and Bill had rented. And if you cut to about 11 hours later that night, these people end up in my living room, and the clothes are coming off, and these wires are coming off. And I didn't notice it, but they had gone to Radio Shack and purchased these little tape players. And the people in my living room had been instructed by my mom and her boyfriend to go and take insurance exams all over Texas. Turns out that one of them went to Dallas, one of them went to El Paso, one of them went to Corpus Christi, one of them went to San Antonio, one of them went to Austin. And they had been taking insurance exams in these rooms, so they would lean in with their number 2 pencils, and as they would be writing, they would be whispering these proctored exams. A beneficiary is A, someone who collects a death benefit, etc. So what would happen over the next 6 months is all of these tapes my mother would be transcribing. So they had a battery of test questions. And this is the birth of National Training Schools, which was the company that my mom and the guy who became my stepdad, Bill, created. The thing about National Training Schools is the National Training Schools only operated ever in Texas. And They operated. This is my stepdad Bill would often say, you know, we have 2 permanent locations. The rest of the time we use hotels. And they went out and hired women who were in their mid to late 20s and dressed them up in these very, very low-cut T-shirts. So national training schools had a big crown on the back, and then they would wear Jordache jeans or some other kind of really tight-fitting jeans and heels. And my mom, in her previous life, when she was married to my real father, she was a school teacher. She taught special ed. And so she had taken this battery of test questions and created a curriculum to teach people how to pass these state insurance exams using mnemonic devices and the same tools that she taught children how to read. So a beneficiary became a character called Benny Fishy. It was like Blue's Clues for like the insurance set, and this is the company that they had. Turns out this was a totally cash business. They never paid taxes on any of this money. My mom turned them in 7 years later, and I'm about to start my own school.